Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it is time for a bit of a beauty haul. So if you watched my most recent book haul, I got into a whole story about how I had already actually recorded this video and then had the worst day ever and needed to re-record. So this is actually beauty products from the last couple of months, because when I recorded that video it was like over a month ago and I just haven't brought myself back to re-recording it. So I'm not going to get into all of that again, but these are just some kind of recent purchases, and I guess the good side of having to re-record means that I've been using these things and can give a little bit of first impressions on them as well. So everything has been shoved into this Sephora box because the packaging is all long gone, or at least the outer packaging, because I'm weird about actual product packaging, as you'll see. But anyway, that's enough of a ramble. Let's get into it. I'll start with the actual Sephora haul. They posted on their Instagram some things that were in their clearance section, which I should have ignored but didn't. So I went and looked through. Actually, it was for one specific thing. One of the things they posted I wanted, which was one of the Stila Eyes Are the Windows palettes, but it was already gone by the time I got over there. But I did find the Tarte Energy Noir palette, which I've been using pretty much faithfully since I got it. I'm a fan of cool toned shadows in general, which is kind of the theme of this palette, though I do find that they do go a little more brown toned and a little more bronzy than I was expecting for a cool palette. It is cool, but it's kind of on the warm side of cool, if that makes sense. I was once ice cold, you know? I wish that the purpley plumminess was more purpley plum, especially of this sort of liner shadow shade. It can go very brown, slightly maroon, rather than a nice deep plummy purple, which I love purples and it's so hard to find a good one, but I do really like the palette. It's very pretty. Something that I don't regret buying at all. For the price especially, I would love it, would repurchase. I also like that the palette itself is nice and weighty and solid and doesn't feel like it's going to get broken very easily, and the mirror is fantastic. Even when I don't use this palette, I've been using the mirror. I also picked up the Stila Illuminating Liquid Foundation in the color 20 Watts. It's really hard to pick something like this out online because it's so impossible to know if the color is reading true on your computer or on their, you know, camera that they took the photographs with or whatever. This, however, works perfectly for me. Now, two disclaimers to that. One, I think that's partly because it's a very sheer formula, so you're able to kind of blend it in, and if the color is a little off, you might not notice because it is so sheer. The other thing is that I'm actually fairly tan right now. I know that sounds ridiculous to some of you, but this is very tan for me. So maybe this won't work once I'm kind of back to my normal shade, but I feel like even when I'm paler, this is still going to work because it is close enough to my natural skin color and sheer. I think it's going to work either way. Now, some of you have heard me talk about I don't generally wear foundation ever, but yeah, I've been wanting to more often, just for the kind of makeup is very therapeutic for me, and it's just soothing sometimes to put this stuff on. So for me, something that's very sheer is right up my alley because I'm not used to wearing foundation and don't all the time. Anything with too much coverage would feel like a mask to me. So this actually works really well for me, and the whole illuminating thing, which is why I got it, because that tends to mean it's good for dry skin. So far, no patchiness. Does settle in pores a little bit if you layer it trying to build up the coverage, but if you don't do that, I haven't had that issue either. It's not glittery or too glowy for the whole illuminating thing, so for me, this was a hit. Don't know if everyone will like this, but it works. It kind of hits some of my buttons, so that's what it needs to do. This next one is sort of a little bit from the Wayback Machine, and it's kind of silly that I'm even going to show it to you, but it's the Stila Stale Day Liquid Lipstick in Aria, which is this color right here, and this is just the box, which I tossed in my Sephora box to show you guys, but then I used the lipstick the other day and can't remember where I put it, but I think it's in one of my purses, and I'm not going to go searching in the middle of this video, so sorry, a little silly for me to even bother showing you, but it's already in the box, figured I might as well. Now, I ordered these in two separate orders, and in one of them I tossed in this little Sephora ornament, I guess, lip gloss, a Kiss the Moon gloss. So I guess it's a moon, not an ornament. Whatever. But I tossed this in to get to $25. Now I have flash shipping, so it wasn't for free shipping or anything like that, but because when you hit $25 you get to pick out one of their deluxe samples, and that basically means that anytime I'm ordering something from Sephora, I'm always going to spend at least $25 because those bastards know how to get you. Because there were 2 orders, that means 2 deluxe samples. The first one that I picked out is the Pharmacy Skin Dew, which is a little skin mist that you can barely see. It's a hydrating essence mist and setting spray with Echinacea Green Envy, which is trademarked, so that must be their thing. As I mentioned, I have dry skin, so I've been trying to try out more mists. That one's okay. I have others that I like more, but I've only used it once or twice, so we'll see. And then the other thing I got was the Fresh Sugar Nourishing Lip Balm Advanced Therapy. This is just a little pot lip balm, which has SPF in it, and it's supposed to be very nourishing. And I do sometimes wear it under lipsticks or at night if I'm trying to replenish, but I'm really glad that I got this in a sample size, because I don't know that I would ever buy the full size, because it is so firm and waxy that it takes me ages to get anything out of the pot and onto my lips, which is kind of annoying. Well, that's why I love a good mini. You can try something out and decide if you like it before you go and pledge your firstborn child to buy it from Sephora. And then lastly, of course, was just a bunch of little sample packs. That, I believe, was it for Sephora. Moving on to the next kind of bigger order was a bit of goodies from ColourPop. I've been wanting to try more ColourPop. Now that I have, I'm a little bit on the fence about them, but, you know, we'll talk about that some other day. But so what I ended up ordering was the Kathleen Lights Where the Night Is quad. Now this is 4 shades that aren't necessarily cohesive. They're just 4 shades that she liked and that meant something to her, or that she wanted in her own collection, and so that's kind of what she worked on. The shades are Weenie, Porter, Telepathy, and Midnight, and they are all either pearlized or metallic. I wish that there would have been a matte shade so that I could try out the ColourPop mattes, and so that there'd be something, you know, I don't always want pearlized or metallic. As everyone says, the formula of these is really unlike anything else that I've tried, and it's very interesting, and I'm having fun playing around with it, but still on the fence on whether I'm completely sold on ColourPop. But that wasn't all I got. But wait, there's more. I also picked up an individual Super Shock Shadow in the color I Heart This, because every time I'm on the site, this draws my eye. I love a good taupe. I got a couple of the Ultra Matte liquid lipsticks in the shades Ouija and Mars. Now, I know it kind of looks very similar on the screen. They're really not very similar in life. Actually, I'll go ahead and show you. This is Mars, and if you can see the scratch on my hand, ignore it, because there's a kitten in my house, so everything is scratched. And this is Ouija. See, pretty different. Now, I thought when I was ordering these that I was kind of ordering past the whole liquid lippy debacle. When they first released these, even though a lot of YouTubers who were sent the liquid lipsticks were raving about them, everyone else was complaining about them because they were very patchy, very uncomfortably drying. Now, liquid lipsticks across the board tend to be a little on the uncomfortable and dry side, but these were supposed to be horribly uncomfortable and dry, like unwearably uncomfortable and dry. Basically, people were having a lot of issues with these and were not happy. It kind of has come out in different interviews and magazines that they were rushed out, ColourPop rushed them out, because their philosophy is kind of throw it at the wall and see what sticks, and if it doesn't work, then you reformulate and move on, rather than doing the reformulation and the testing beforehand and putting out a good product, which is one of the reasons I'm on the fence about them. But anyway, it's been over a year since that first release, and they supposedly had reformulated them and re-released them, and they're supposed to be much better now. I don't know if they only re-released certain colors, or it was just new colors that came out, and some are still old. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm not in love. I think they are still way too dry and uncomfortable and hard to work with. Mars is okay, and I will probably get some good use out of it, though I'll hate life when it's on my lips because it is that uncomfortable. Ouija, however, I'm pretty sure is going to be unwearable, which sucks because it's a beautiful color, but it is the streakiest, patchiest, grossest looking formula on the lips. I've tried probably 2 or 3 times, and for the life of me cannot get it to look decent. Whether I do a thin layer, whether I do a thick layer, whether I do 2 coats, doesn't seem to matter. It is always just streaky and gross looking and so unbearably uncomfortable. So that was disappointing. And of course, ColourPop has a no returns policy. Another thing that kind of irritates me, they have very cute packaging, but it all rubs off. I don't know how well you can see that it's just disappearing on there. All of the info about it, it's just disappearing. I hate it when packages do that, but these have hardly been handled, so they really shouldn't be doing that yet. Ugh. Anyway, that was it from ColourPop. All the rest of this is kind of random onesie-twosie stuff, and I'm going to try to go through it pretty quickly because I'm sure this video is plenty long enough as it is. My mom and I went browsing around TJ Maxx one day where we picked up things we didn't need. So for me, that was some beauty-related things. The first one is the Elizabeth Arden Peel and Reveal Revitalizing Treatment, which is a peel-off mask, which I haven't tried, but I did open, and it oozed every damn where. Like, it made the biggest mess, so maybe it was just overfilled. That wasn't a great first impression, but maybe that's my fault. Then I got the Butter London Nail 999 Rescue System. This is a base coat and top coat that are supposed to bring back weak, brittle nails, and it has biotin right in the base coat. I have so many issues with my nails, so I figured I would give it a try, and I've used it a couple of times, and I don't know whether it's the system or the polish that I used with it, but so far I really like it. That was a pretty good snag. And speaking of the polish I used with it, I also picked this up. This is an OPI nail polish in Do You Lilac It, which is what I'm wearing. Ignore the fact that it's all chipped because I've been gardening like crazy, but this is like probably 4 or 5 days of wear, and that's really not too bad. So again, don't know if it was the polish or the system or just the combination of the two together, but really, really liking it, and it went on so smooth and dried so fast. I'm always hesitant to try new top coats because I live in a very humid climate and nails take forever to dry, and I get so frustrated to spend the time and then end up with smudges or pillow lines. So I tend to use one of two fast dry top coats, either the Seche Vite or the Revlon, and both have big issues that really irritate me. So I've been wanting a new top coat, but I don't trust other fast dry top coats because they always say that they're dry and they seem that they're dry, like if you just gently touch them, and then the next day I always end up with pillow lines. With this, it actually did dry really quick. Not as quick as those two, but quick enough that I was able to go about my life and didn't have any problems with it. Doesn't discolor or recede like Seche Vite, and doesn't give me little crackles like a desert fault line like the Revlon, so this might be a winner. I also picked up some Absolute New York Revitalizing Cooling Eye Pads because they look like kiwis and I thought it was cute, so I had to. And then in the little Q line they had some Kat Von D Shade and Light Blush Duos, which I know didn't get very good reviews when it came out from a lot of people. Some people loved them, but a lot of people felt like they were too sheer and didn't have enough payoff. For me, that wasn't a deterrent because I have naturally pretty pink cheeks. It can be really easy with a pigmented blush to just go ham and look like a clown. So sheer, as long as it's buildable, I figured it would work for me, so I thought I'd give it a try. I've only used it a couple times. I'm wearing it today. I don't know how well you can see it, but I was able to build it up fine. The other complaint was that it doesn't last very long, so we'll see if that's true. But, I mean, for $5, I figured I'd give it a try. Just a couple more things and then we're done, I swear. Really quickly, I got the Pure Miracle Mist from Kohl's because it was in their clearance bin and was really cheap. Has a strange little bottle with the smallest little spritzer and cap. Like, when I opened it, I thought it just didn't have the cap on it, but no, that is the cap. It's kind of adorable. But I already said I've been wanting to try out more mists, so thought I'd try out that one. It was pretty cheap. I picked up a couple of drugstore things. The first is the NYX concealer that has no words on it now because, again, everything has rubbed off. I mean, this one's been used a little bit more, but it did that immediately. That drives me nuts because now I can't tell you what's in it, I can't tell you exactly what it's called or what shade it is. I know there are ways to make the words stay on the packaging because other brands do it, guys. As for the formula, it's a little dry, especially if you already have dry skin, but it's workable. I like it. It's a good shade for me, and because it's dry, I don't have to set it, so works for me. And then I also picked up the Jordana Fabuliner because I could have swore that I'd seen a lot of beauty bloggers and vloggers comparing this to the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner and the Stylist Stay All Day, and no, it's really not anything like it at all. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe they were talking about something else, but you know, it's workable. I will use it, I will go through it, and it doesn't do that thing that I hate where you're using a liquid liner and then if you try to put another layer on, it pulls itself back off and you end up with like a patch. It doesn't do that, so that's really good, especially for a bargain liner. But the color payoff isn't there. It's very watery black. You do have to layer it quite a bit. It's not nice and flexible, and it doesn't last like those. Like Stylist Stay All Day, no joke, I slept in once and I woke up and posted a picture on Instagram the next day because my wing was still there. This crumbles off throughout the day. If you rub your eye, it's gonna come right off. It's not very waterproof. I don't know if they just meant like it's a good sort of brush liner right through the lipstick there, Misty. That was great. Can you see how like light that is? How pale that is? I don't know. Might be okay for a drugstore brush tip liner, but this is no Steelist day all day. And lastly, I was on eBay for something completely unrelated, but this showed up in my recommended, and though I am generally opposed to buying makeup from China or brushes or anything like that from China, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning and my faculties had left me, so I ended up buying a knockoff artist's brush, those little sort of toothbrush style brushes, just because I wanted to see what all the hype was about. I obviously can't say how it compares to those bajillion-dollar brushes, but it is very dense and very soft. It doesn't just absorb all the makeup. It works really nicely, and it was like $1. And I feel bad about this. And they're dirty because I used them today, so forgive that, but I also picked up these, what are clearly supposed to be Bold Metals knockoffs. So, judgment left me, but they were like $6. It happens, guys. So that is everything from this kind of late spring beauty haul. I will list and try to link everything in the description in case you want to look into it. If you've tried any of these, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're curious about any of them and want to know more, let me know that too and we'll chat about it, or maybe I can make a follow-up video. Sorry that this was so long, but, you know, a lot of stuff and I gotta make up for all the time wasted recording the video the first time. So that's all for now. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again soon.